professor. He was a senior professor of Mysore University. Dr. K. Pairappa secured his PhD from Moscow University, Russia. So I would request sir to please proceed.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries on the dais. One of my most favorite officers in the highest circle, Sri A.B. Ibrahim. Why he is my most favorite? He is, wherever he goes, he makes an impact and leaves, creates a great niche for himself. And that is how even today people in Mysore remember him for his contribution during his tenure as the Deputy Commissioner. And my relatives also in Sakleshpur remember him when he was the Assistant Commissioner. He did a wonderful job. Even today people remember. And I have been seeing his style of performing here in Mangalore, and I am copying him in many respects. This is not flattering words, and he is a man with the commitment. And the other dignitaries, we have Dr. G. Manjunath. I was just going through his speech, and I found him more a researcher than an administrator. And we have Dr. Taranath Shetty, the principal and chairman of this conference, principal of this Sdm Law College, and Mr. Santosh Prabhu, the faculty coordinator, and also the other faculty coordinator, Mrs. Chandralekha, and dignitaries of the dais, the participants from different parts of the state, and the resource persons, speakers from Andhra Pradesh, Andhra, Maharashtra, Kerala, and Karnataka states, and invitees and the media friends. When Dr. Taranath requested me to be a part of this opening ceremony of this very interesting conference, Labor Force in Unorganized Sectors, Protection and Challenges, I agreed for various reasons. Number one, this is being a part of the Sri Kshetra Dharmasthala SDM activity, because you know the highly innovative program started by Padma Vibhushan Sri Dr. Virendra Hegde, the Root Set program for the rural development, the Gramina Abhivrudhi. This is a wonderful concept. I was going through all the objectives of this Root Set program, linked with the nationalized banks, and it became a national activity. And one day I hope this would bring a Nobel Prize to our great Puja Sri Virendra Hegde. This is such a wonderful idea started by him. So that is one of the reasons why I accepted this in spite of my busy schedule. I have another program clashing with this, with former Planning Commission member delivering a talk in the university. The second important thing why I am here is my own experience in countries where you have capitalism, socialistic government, communist, and the so-called democratic. I have lived in all these countries and experienced how the government and how the people, and particularly the labor class people, are looked into. Here there is a slight confusion about the unrecognized sector of the laborers. Unrecognized means they are not registered. They are not the taxpayers. They don't pay the tax. And to some extent, I can say they are self-employed. In Africa, if you take, this percentage goes up to 97% unorganized and the so-called self-employed. In India, we have up to about 85%, from 40 to 85% self-employed or unorganized workers. And in this respect, the protection and challenges, these two are very important issues. Now the previous speakers, they mentioned what is this protection. During my PhD days, I did study Karl Marxist theory, followed by the Lenin's theory, and what is communism, what is socialism, all those things we had to read, study and give examination in that to become eligible to submit our PhD thesis, whatever the discipline. But compulsory coursework, what we have in India nowadays, so we had this coursework, but not just pertaining only to your area of research. We were also forced to study the system existing, the literature of that country, the famous literary figures, their works, so all these things. So in this respect, I have seen how this unorganized sector, the workers, what protection they have in India and what protection people in the erstwhile Soviet Union or USSR had. There was no unorganized self-employed sector there in those days. Everyone had a protection. In US, they give, the moment you land in US, to receive any kind of scholarship or fellowship or a salary, first thing you have to register for your social security, and you should get a number, SSN we call, and you just present your SSN before any agency. They can tell your history, entire profile they can give. So that is how the networking in US linked with the social security number works. We do not have, although India started with the Aadhaar card and somehow it didn't take up to our expectations. So in this respect, I would like to give one example. My previous speakers spoke very important things about how these workers are looked. For example, maybe BD workers or construction workers or scavengers. All these people, they have absolutely no security, no social security, no protection at all. The protection is only for the person or the contractor who employs Guttigadara. So this is what we see. Everything is being outsourced nowadays. We get the circulars from the government, do not appoint anybody, because the moment you appoint even as a temporary person, a clerk, after 5 years or 10 years he will climb, to become permanent. The law will come into picture. So to overcome that, they say, outsource it. When once you outsource, we pay some amount, but they don't get, the minimum wages are fixed and accordingly we pay. But most of these outsourcing agencies, they also have to live, they don't pay that much money. And anytime they can remove from the work, all these issues are there. But what I saw, a very beautiful classical example, when I was at the Moscow State University doing my PhD work, one of my friends had a sister, elder sister, working in a factory as a laborer, a factory worker. And I was shocked to know she was also representing the factory or the union in the parliament. And I wanted to see her. I requested my friend, can you bring your sister? I want to meet, I want to see her. She was just a very ordinary worker, and she took the public transport and she came to my apartment and I spoke to her. And she said, I represent the union and I have been selected to represent the parliament. So that is how the workforce has a real force in the sense of Karl Marx or Lenin's theory. But what happened with the capitalistic mind among all the people and the easy lifestyle, the entire communist theory is collapsing slowly, and we are into capitalistic approach, and where the owner of the factory and between the owner and the workers there is a big gap. There is no security. There are so many acts and policies introduced, even in the Indian Constitution. There is a special mention about the security of this working class or labor class. In spite of all that, many people are not aware of the available facilities. The Social Security Act of the unorganized working class, the government of India introduced this act in 2008, and they slowly linked with so many other agencies to secure these people, like with life insurance and so on. But unfortunately, if you go to the rural areas, most of these are not familiar to the workers or the people or the laborers in the rural areas. So that is why we expect more and more colleges, educational institutions would go in this path taken up by this law college, Sdm Law College. This kind of initiation is very important. The others also should follow their footsteps and create a kind of awareness among the people. And I request the college faculty members to give project work to the students, at least in the second year, to go to the rural areas and make the people in the rural areas aware of all the facilities provided by the government, particularly for this so-called self-employed or unorganized sector. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I wish you all a great success in these 2 days national seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Gratitude is a way of thanksgiving.